Yo, what's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. This is a sequel to Rimuru in Akame ga Kill, Rimuru in DXD by alexkuhar360. Chapter 4 to 3 Factions Peace Conference. Rimuru's POV. The day of the so-called conference was not on a school day, so Veldora and I had to sneak in and hide inside, since in Japan, instead of teachers having different classes and the students walking around, the students all have the same class and the teachers rotate. I do not have an assigned class. On the other hand, there are teachers' offices that served as the perfect place for us to hide, since nobody that should be here is a teacher at the school. We go there in the morning and had to wait until the evening for anyone else to arrive. It was dark when Veldora and I were able to start sensing large energy sources approaching the school. I was in my normal battle clothes while Veldora was in a black trench coat with a white button-down shirt and loose black tie with black slacks. When I asked, he said it was something a protagonist would wear. I guess he isn't wrong. Since Veldora was still having problems with aura control, I had him wearing Shizu's mask, at least for now. If we are exposed, I will take it back to try to hide my identity. The place we were situated was near enough to the conference room. They decided to use that with our abilities we could hear them clearly. Veldora didn't really care, so he just read a manga while we waited. During the time we were sitting here, the people in the meeting had set up a large barrier around the school and had heavily fortified the school. If this turned into a fight, it would be difficult to escape without a fight. If worse comes to worse, Veldora could turn into a dragon and break through the barrier. Since we can't teleport out while inside of this barrier, that would be something of a last resort though. One thing that was helpful was learning everyone's names. For instance, I learned the leader of the angels is named Michael, the leader of the fallen angels is named Azazel, and the leader of the devils Arius's brother Circex Lucifer, and the student council president's older sister Seraphal Leviathan. The name of the guy with white armor I met my first day here is also named Vali. To be honest, he gives me a bad vibe. I feel like I would definitely have to watch my back around him. After the devils gave a rundown of events that transpired, they finally got to the part one was most interested in, the part concerning me. The one to bring it up was Issei. The more I learn about him, the more I don't know what to think. Is he an idiot or does he just hide himself well? I am leaning more towards idiot, but I cannot discount the slight chance he is just playing everyone extremely well. Anyways, he was the one to ask. Who was that girl that came in and fried Kokebile? I bet she is really pretty. The next person to speak was Azazel, who pretended he didn't even hear the latter part of the sentence. Yes, I wonder that too. Do the devils have a secret new ace in the hole? If this woman was able to kill him so handedly, they must be extremely strong. I would like you to tell us who they are. Jumping on the bandwagon, Michael also inquired. From what was reported, she barehandedly grabbed a light spear out of the sky and shattered it seamlessly. If a devil can do that, I am very interested in this as well. That is not even to mention how they somehow made a supposedly much larger one disappear completely. Since everyone is assuming the devils know me, it has put them in an uncomfortable situation since they have no clue who I am. They quickly tried to make that clear as well. Circex was the one to respond. We have no clue who this individual is. Our current theory is that they were either somehow summoned by whatever Valpyr and Kokebile were doing, or felt the energy from their ritual and came to them on their own. From the way they appeared uninterested and only fought when attacked, we are leaning towards the first idea. They continued to bicker about my existence, where I came from, and who I was for a while. I found it amusing but was taken out of my absent-minded entertainment when I started feeling magical fluctuations around the school. From what I heard earlier, the school was supposed to be sealed off from the outside world currently. Since I am not super knowledgeable about this world's magic, I have no clue about ways to get around that or if anything is even wrong, but it definitely made me alert. As it continued, I realized they are going towards the club building. Rias and her peerage use. Are they perhaps stealing something? If so, they really picked one hell of a time to do it. That means they are probably there for something else. After a little while, something seems to have happened. Even Veldora put his manga down and stood up. I felt a difference, but I couldn't pinpoint it. Thankful Veldora knew and filled me in. It seems like time has stopped. I am a bit confused by what that means, but thankful Raphael filled me in. Less than. It seems that whoever entered the barrier went to the Occult Research Club's building in order to somehow stop the flow of time. Since the ability is owned by someone, Master is able to resist it since he is much stronger than the user. Veldora and other strong individuals are also able to resist it. However, it seems many people in the meeting room have been frozen. Greater than. I had been trying to not think about it, but it seems like there is an attack going on. Perhaps someone picked this as an opportune moment to eliminate a large amount of high-value targets at once. I do not know the scene in this world, but I would imagine the number of people to get the information as well as have the means to execute this operation is very small. The most important thing is that to get the information and details about this, an inside man is needed, so someone in that room is a traitor. Once that was figured out, I narrowed down the list to one person. It was definitely Vali, unless someone was manipulated or tortured into giving the information against their will. I am almost sure he would be the only willing conspirator. Unfortunately, it seems my deductions outran the people in the room as they seemed wrapped up in the shock of what was going on still. While I was willing to sit and wait, it seems Veldora has other ideas. Wahahaha Rimuru, it seems like it is time for the main characters to take the stage. What do you say? Although he asked a question, it is clear it was rhetorical as he had already stood up and returned the mask to me. His aura control that was only a work in progress showed as energy randomly started sneaking out of him in large quantities. It was like a flickering light bulb of magicules. A lot of magicules. I couldn't help but face palm as people started to freak out as they felt his aura. With the introduction of Veldora's aura and an outright attack on the meeting room, the entire situation turned into absolute chaos. The attackers were confused who the aura was coming from, while the meeting participants were frozen or even more confused. It would be accurate to say we added shit to a shit show as Veldora brazenly walked out of the teachers' offices with a cocky smile. I wanted to stop him, but since the cat was out of the bag, I could only put the mask on to hide my identity and follow behind him. When we got to the door of the meeting room, they were talking about castling into the club building, because apparently they can do that. Is it just me, or has their whole chess analogy thing gotten a bit out of hand? Then, to bring everyone's attention to us, Veldora kicked down the door, which was somehow still intact. When we entered, Rias, Issei, and Vali we gone. I guess he went out to fight the invaders. Everyone just looked at Veldora and I with confused faces. Azazel was the one to speak first. And who the hell are you supposed to be? Wahahaha, you question me? I am the mighty storm dragon Veldora Tempest? After his introduction, he started doing a variety of punches and kicks. I got to give him credit, it did look like a shot straight out of a manga. The first one to speak was Searsex. And Issei just left, and he has the dragon-slaying sword. Well, that is just wonderful. Wahahaha, dragon-slaying sword, you say? The only sword that will hurt me is the blade of my sisters or of the chosen hero. Come at me all you want, birds. As Veldora started getting into a martial arts stance to get ready for a fight, I had to clear things up. I walked in front of Veldora and put my hand on his shoulder and spoke. Come on, Veldora, these aren't the right people. Fight the other dudes. What kind of main character comes in at the perfect moment then attacks the wrong people? Everyone else in the room was confused as Veldora had a aghast expression. Oh my god, you're right. They were totally the group to get ambushed. That means I must repel the attackers and save the helpless bird and bat people. After that, he walked past the others out the window and went to attack the invaders. To be honest, I was pretty impressed with his style. He was light on his feet and had good technique. He almost looked like a real martial artist, but he definitely is not. I just let the guy who can literally control the weather enjoy his time as a melee fighter, and I tried to decide what to do. While ruminating on my options, someone else crashed the party. It seems her name was Kateria Leviathan, and she was really mad about something. I do not know the entire political landscape of these different groups, but whatever it was, she seemed pissed. As she was ranting, I noticed something strange and Raphael explained it to me. Less than, Master, it seems like this woman somehow has acquired some of the infinite dragon god Ophis's power. It has enhanced he to a significant degree, but is also very volatile, and if used wrong can literally burn her from the inside. Do not worry though, you are still stronger by a decent margin. Greater than. While she was still yelling, I interrupted in a cold tone that made them quiet for a second. Stop. They looked at me since I had a completely different tone than before. It seems Kateria was on a roll because she turned her ire towards me. Who the hell even are you? A little weakling should know not to get involved in this. I will teach you though. Before she could cast whatever she started, I said something that made the entire destroyed room freeze. How did you get Ophis's power? Most of the group looked at me dumbfounded, except Azazel and Kateria. She was the one to respond. How do you know anything about that? You may be right that she gave me some power so I can accomplish my goal, but that doesn't mean you can stop me. When she said that she cast a spell at me that was interrupted by a light spear from Azazel, I could feel the difference in power between his and Kokabiel's. He then spoke. I will be your opponent. I want to test something and see the extent of the power Ophis gave you. To be honest, I kind of wanted to fight her, since if I ate her I might get some power from absorbing Ophis's power inside of her, but I also didn't want to be that guy. So I left it alone. With nothing else to do, I went on crowd control duty, even though most of the crowd was gone by now. Now we were all outside with Seraphal and Michael shielding everyone as the fights went on. I walked just outside the barrier and cast my spell. I quickly used Demon Lightning, but not the same way I used it before. I launched it out and it went towards the top of the large barrier. A bunch of people inside watched as it went high into the sky, above all the fights, like before it started charging up as dozens of red lightning bolts started firing off. This time it was much larger and more powerful than before. It would do something different too. There were still dozens of what seemed to be human magicians in the air, and I used Universal Perception, with Raphael's help, to pinpoint all of them. I wonder if my affinity for lightning went up when I ate a Dramelich. As the crimson lightning started taking up almost all of the sky above the school, I used an original technique I developed with Raphael. It is something like an accompanying skill to go with Demon Lightning, and it is simply Transform Lightning. It only works with my Demon Lightning, though. When I activated that, the crimson lightning storm took the form of a dragon. Since I do not have much reference, it looks like what Veldora looked like in the cave when I first saw him. As it took form, I walked back into the barrier and began controlling it. It proceeded to fly around the school, incinerating any magician it touched. Against stronger opponents I am sure it would be much less effective. Since it is less condensed than what I used on Kokabiel, I am pretty sure pretty much everyone else here would be able to take a hit from it. The most powerful be able to just tank it. At the end of the day though, this is something of an AoE attack to clear the weaklings out fast. If I am fighting directly with someone, I would either try to bombard them with my ranged attacks or use my sword. Beelzebub is always an option as well. After the dragon finished its pass, the mostly destroyed school was almost completely silent. Always the fun guy Veldora broke the silence. Nice one, Rimuru. That totally looked like me. You really stole my spotlight, but since you did it with me I will accept it. Wahaha, those humans were so weak though, they couldn't even take a single punch. After Veldora shamelessly dropped my name, I couldn't help but stare at him with a deadpan expression as he outed me to everyone. For fuck's sake, Veldora, you just had to expose me like that. Well, rest in peace my hope to keep my identity secret. While everyone was looking at me with surprise, Azazel finished his fight and killed Kateria. Then to almost everyone's surprise, Vali attacked him. I am not really sure why, since he could have easily played off his involvement and skipped town before the investigation. Now he is all alone in the enemy's stronghold. I don't know if that is confidence or stupidity, but I can respect the balls he has even if it seems idiotic to me. After that, Azazel exposed that Vali is a Lucifer. It seemed like a big reveal, but I do not fully understand the meaning of it. I also learned more about scared gears, and now I know only humans or part humans can be born with them. I wonder if I eat one if I get its power? After all this talking that I only understood half of, Azazel said something interesting.
I see. One of my associates told me something about this. They call themselves the Chaos Brigade. Their leader is the Ouroboros dragon Ophis, the infinite dragon god. So Ophis has some kind of rebel army. That is kind of weird. If their goal is to cause chaos, I think they need a new strategist. Veldora failing to hide his aura caused more chaos than anything, in my opinion. To ruin the tense atmosphere, Veldora decided to speak, of course. That horny little girl. So she is the final boss. I see now. Rimuru, we will have to get much stronger to beat her. Don't worry though, I will train you very well. Everyone went slack-jawed at Veldora calling. Someone who is, from what I understand, one of the strongest in the world. That horny little girl. She also doesn't seem like to me someone who regularly acts like that either. Vali looked like he was about to fall over, as funnily enough the angel Michael was the one to speak first. What do you mean by that, Veldora? You know Ophis, the infinite dragon god. Veldora, sensing that he was now the center of attention in a bad way, tried to defend himself. Not really. We only met once and all she wanted to do was find my brother. When I told her no, she tried to mate with me, right there. She even pinned me to the ground and tried to do it in the middle of a field. That little loli is completely crazy. Everyone was even more shocked than before. Vali was the most surprised and shouted out. Ophis tried to mate with you. I can tell you are strong. Very strong, but still. Who the hell are you anyways? The only dragons that are stronger than you I know are Ophis and Great Red. How can you just drop out on nowhere like this? At least now there is another strong enemy I can fight. You and the girl in the mask will be fun while the Red Dragon Emperor trains and gets stronger. Since he is such a disappointment, I will need a halftime show. Veldora, being the guy he is, took heavy offense to that statement. Wahaha. You call me a halftime show when you are merely a bat with a dragon in a box you bought at Toys R Us. Don't make me laugh. If anything, you are the season 1 villain for me. While they were talking smack, Vali activated something called a balance breaker, which seemed to be just his armor. He seemed to want to fight Veldora. Veldora, who was offended, seemed to want to kill the now mid-season villain, here and now. Veldora would definitely win this fight. His Faust, Lord of Investigation, is very good for a fight like this where both parties know little about each other's abilities, and that is not even to mention probability manipulation. Veldora, always the showman, took of his tie and threw it to me, for some reason I cannot possibly comprehend, and started transforming into his dragon form. As the gaming and anime enthusiast I am, I had to admit he looked badass. Veldora would do great as a writer if he tried. Veldora also stopped any attempt to contain his aura. As it rushed forth, the weaker devils started stumbling and some fell over. The leaders of the 3 factions looked extremely pale, feeling his incredible amount of magicules. Vali had his helmet on put. I could see he faltered. Almost everyone realized how screwed he was. I guess Vali was down for any fight though, since he just charged forwards. Veldora seemed amused as he spoke with his deep draconic voice. If you are so eager to be my chew toy, come at me, plastic man.
I do not really understand why he is saying the armor is made of plastic, but I am guessing it is a cheap provocation. It seems to work though. Veldora shot a death heralding wind at Vali. He made a shield to block it, and at that moment I knew it was game over. The shield got cut through like butter and Vali got hit almost full force. His armor shattered instantly, but he was still alive. I wonder if Veldora held back. As Veldora was laughing, I had a terrible feeling he was about to expose his skill, so I quickly used thought communication with him. Veldora, do not say anything about your ability. Keep it a secret. Faust is your trump card. Even though you used it here, none of them know what happened, so just don't talk about it, okay? Wahaha. Okay. I understand. Instead, Veldora went with something else. Wahaha. What a weakling. Couldn't even block a singe attack. You are a million years too early to challenge me, bad boy. As Veldora started walking towards Vali to finish him off, the barrier around the area cracked and then crumbled. A boy that looked like a monkey came out. To his and our surprise, a portal started forming to the side of him. The person who came out of that is everyone's favorite dragon god, Ophis. When Veldora saw her, he instantly pulled back, which looked comical since he was still in his dragon form. He also spoke. Are you here to breed me in front of all these people? I won't let you. If you want kids that bad, do it with the guy who has the dragon in a box. That should be the same thing, right? In response, Ophis gave him a deadpan stare. Everyone else was surprised to see her. Vali, who was barely conscious, spoke. Ophis, why are you here? That wasn't part of the plan. Don't tell me you are actually going to mate with this guy's right here, right? Ophis looked at him before speaking. Bhikkhu, take Vali away to get healed. As for why I am here, it is to hear and see what will happen. With a vague reply, Azazel asked the question we were thinking. What else is going to happen? Unless you are fighting, I think this is the end. Ophis looked at him momentarily and then spoke again. With Velbaka releasing so much energy, Baka Red will come to see what it is. Since he knows about his brother, I am interested in what their conversation will entail. I have no plans to fight. I also would like to talk to Rimuru privately. Well, this just got even more interesting. Hopefully I can learn some more information and get some more context on things. Veldora, always with the commentary, added a way too true statement. Looks like this is going to be a two-parter, huh? The end.